What's up, friends? It's Leo WT on my own page, which is weird, and on my in the middle of the day, you know what I mean? Like, just a weird time. I'm going to share this post to the conversations group real quick because it seems fitting, since I wanted to give you guys a little sneak preview about conversations tonight. It's been a minute since we've had my friend Elle Dowd on the podcast. I'm really excited to have her back on tonight. We've had her on before, and we're actually talking about her brand new book, which was just released. It's not actually even available on Kindle and Audible yet, but I pre-ordered my copy a long time ago. So this is the book. I give it a 75 out of 10 for graphic design. It looks really dope, and I wanted to share you guys a little quote about it. So I'm going to be interviewing Elle tonight at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Conversations page, and I do hope you all can join us. But there's a quote in here. I think I'm in chapter 2 or 3 maybe right now that I pulled this quote out of, and I really love the quote. Okay, so I wanted to share it with you guys as like a little teaser for tonight. So it's in the book. Elle writes, "The state has declared a monopoly on violence. So we call breaking windows violent and somehow think that denying people adequate housing or education or healthcare is not." And what I really love about this part in the book is Elle is talking about her experiences as a white moderate person who grew up in a middle class area with a blue collar class parents. And she's talking about her experiences in Ferguson after the lynching of Michael Brown, and what moved her. As you can see the subtitle there, from white moderate to abolitionist. And this is, I'm really interested because the talk about George Floyd has died down a little bit. The talk about his murderer, Derek Chauvin, has died down a little bit, and I think that it's a conversation we need to have because there was so much passionate white allyship, or many eyes on the issue, right? Maybe baby allies, if you will, last year when George Floyd was lynched in front of our eyes, for millions of us. There's so many people that wanted to be passionate then, and I noticed that once the streets emptied out, it seems like we've fallen off, and it seems like there's, at least in Olean, there's a divide between groups that wanted to stake claims in the movement and people that are doing the work, and I just don't want to see this cause fall off. So that's why I'm excited to have this conversation, because Elle is talking about in this chapter, she's talking about how she had to redefine what was considered violence and what was considered property damage. And I think that she has some really good points about what it means to be violent in a capitalistic system, right? She says a little bit earlier, she said property damage is contextual. There are some forms of property damage, like the burning of black churches, that are violent. They call upon a history of oppression and terror. Other forms of property damage, like damage to corporate property carried out by oppressed groups who have been silenced and ignored, are not violent at all. They are a response to violence. And she even goes on to quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Summers of riots are caused by winters of delay." And I think that's something we really need to think about, because everybody focuses on the fire in the streets and the broken windows and everything, and they forget to realize that the state has declared violence in a lot of ways upon minorities, and in those ways includes food apartheid, they include redlining, they include gerrymandering, they include denying people adequate housing, education, healthcare. All of these things go into systemic state-sponsored violence. And as someone who is white, and as someone who grew up not having to deal with these realities on a daily basis, my eyes have been open to the things that I don't know. And even, I've been involved in like social justice work now for I'm going to say 15, 16 years. And there's still so many things I'm learning, especially when it comes to domestic, local community, local government allyship of minority communities. There's a rot and a cancer in the system, and we have to attack that. And that means attacking slumlords. That means attacking food apartheid. For those of you who aren't familiar with that topic, food apartheid means when poorer areas are left without options for fresh food. That's actually something that happens. It happens in our rural areas as well as in urban areas. And what it means is that whole communities don't have access to fresh food. The only thing they have access to is like convenience store food, junk store food, Dollar General food, that sort of stuff. That's called food apartheid. It used to be called food deserts, but the thing is deserts are naturally occurring, and these districts have been systemically had natural access to healthy food systemically removed. So there are all these sorts of state-sponsored violence that occur on a daily basis, and those are violence to the personhood and to the sovereignty and to the well-being of entire people groups. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. I know a lot of people will push back on this definition of racism. A lot of people still want to say that white people can experience racism, but there's a difference between prejudiced acts and systemically created and sustained violence to people's personhood. If there is no adequate jobs, if there is no adequate housing, if there is no health care, if there is no mental health care, these are all forms of state-sponsored and state-propped up violence against people groups. And this is what I want to talk about, and this is what I want to attack, because like I said, the hashtags have fallen off. If you watch videos from me a year ago, right, either on my page, on the Only on Regional Justice Coalition page, on the group that was formerly the Only on Regional Justice Coalition group that was kind of taken from us. If you look at videos of me a year ago, I was saying this exact thing, like the hashtags will fall off. The thing is that it's our duty, if we are true allies, especially as white people, right? Not that anybody else can't be allies, not that anybody else can't be involved in the fight, but especially as white people. We thought that the rubber met the road when we were in the roundabout last year. That's not it at all. That's performative allyship if it's not backed up. And so I'm really excited to talk to Elle tonight about Baptized in Tear Gas, from white moderate to abolitionist, because I think from reading the book, there's so many other things that we need to do, and there's also understandings that we need to unlearn. And so I'm really excited about this. Again, I'm going to be going live tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Conversations official Facebook page and YouTube. Come check us out with my friend Elle Dowd, and we're going to be chatting about this, what we can do to be real allies, what it means to be a real ally when the streets aren't on fire, but the violence is still happening in other ways that we just might not see. It's an important conversation. I really hope to see you guys there tonight, 7:30, Conversations official Facebook page. I'm going to be going over Baptized in Tear Gas with Elle Dowd, and I'm really excited to talk about next level allyship, especially when the streets aren't on fire, but when the fight needs to be taken to city halls and state assemblies and Congress floors and, local government. There's a lot of things that need to be done. So let's get talking. Let's continue the conversation. Let's be better allies. And white people, let's just be better in general. And let's stop pandering to our own need to be self-secure in the fact that we're not racist. And let's think about the ways in which systemic racism and systemic disenfranchisement really do affect a lot of people on a daily basis. Soapbox over. See you guys tonight at 7:30.